if you're a musician and you play shows and nobody showed up, I'm going to talk about ways to make sure that that does not happen. My name is Broadway, and I've played plenty of shows where dozens and dozens of people showed up, 100 plus people have been in the building. And so I'm going to tell you what I do to make sure that happens so that you can duplicate that same result. Okay, first thing I want you to do is I want you to open up a Google Sheet. All right, so when you open up a Google Sheet, I want you to first write down every name that you can possibly think of. So I've started this little fake Google Sheet here. These are absolutely fake names. I don't know anybody's names. Go through your contact list in your phone. Put every contact down. I think one of the issues that people have when they're trying to invite people to a show is they say, I don't know enough people. I don't know enough people to get 25 people at my show, for example. If you're doing a gig and you have to sell 25 tickets, some people say, I don't know enough people to get 25 people out to a show. I would bet that's false. If you have been in a city for more than a year, now if you just moved there, maybe you don't know enough people to get 25 people out to a show. But if you've been in a city more than a year, you've been working, you've been hanging out with people, you've been making friends, you've been out in the music scene, you've been doing all these things, I will bet money that you know enough people to get 25 people out to a show and even more. So the first step of this is to write down everybody that you know, because you'll be surprised, I bet, if you're one of those people that are saying, I don't know enough people. If you go through and you write down everybody you know, go to your contacts in your phone, write down everybody, your neighbors, everybody you know from the music scene, all your friends, write them all down, even your coworkers. Now, I used to be a person who would say, well, maybe I should keep the corporate me and the music me separate. Maybe it's not professional if my managers and things know that I play music. Maybe they'll fire me if they know I'm trying to pursue other things. I used to think about all these things, but honestly, don't worry about that. Honestly, if you are serious about music, if music is what you are truly trying to do with your life, you need to make a choice to not let anything get in the way of that. So any of your mental gymnastics that we do to try to talk ourselves out of doing the things that we know we need to do, put it to the side. Put your coworkers on the list, because once I started inviting my coworkers have been some of the most supportive people, period. And they've invited some of their friends and their family members and stuff to come out and check out my music. So that's more people that are coming to the shows and checking out the music. So invite your coworkers, put them on the list, okay? All right, so let's go back to our list here. We got, Albert Sampson, Peter Bronson. These are all fake names. Another thing to note, maybe you don't have their phone number, their contact. Sometimes I think we forget about our social media contacts as well. So if you look at page 10, for example, or row 10, Jimmy Cracks Corn, Sarah Makes Music. These are just Instagram handles. Sad Mad Dad on line 16. These are just, again, these are fake. I just made these up. But these are Instagram handles. If you don't know their contact information, like you don't have their phone number, put their IG handle down there, or put, or maybe you put their name if you know their name, and then put in parentheses, you put their IG handle. Okay, so make sure you have put everybody. Now, you will probably, again, be surprised at how many people you know. And once you feel like you've exhausted this list and you've gotten everybody that you think you know, all right, so one thing to note, too, we have at the top name, and then I put also the show in column B, the show. So that's 6/5, June 5th, 2025 at the Viper Room. That's the venue. So I usually put something like that. So you can do that at the top as well when you start this. Now, all right, so once you have the names, you have all that, then you're going to start inviting these people. So what I do is that I personally will send a text. Hey, Albert, yo, what's up, man? I got a show June 5th, and it's at the Viper Room. I really love to see you there. Tickets are $10. Here's my Venmo. You can send me for the ticket or whatever. If there's a link to get tickets, whatever. So I found that personal message really goes a long way to, helping people actually get tickets. Now, there are things like Partyful that you can do, apps like that you can use. And I know people that have done that and they've had some success with it. So if you have used that and it works for you, great. If you used it and it didn't work, then maybe try this method that I'm talking about right now. I've had people say to me, yo, nobody came to my show. And then I ask them, how many people did you invite? And they say, oh, I just posted on Instagram. Don't rely on Instagram to get people out to your show, okay? Like, yes, I've had some people that have come because they saw that I had a show on Instagram, and, you know, that's sometimes they're few and far between. But if you want a successful show, if you want to ensure that you have a successful show and that people show up, I'm telling you, do the personalized text message or DM or whatever. Reach out to them personally. I'm telling you, it is way more effective than just relying on people seeing it on Instagram. Like, I know people, you can see when people look at your IG stories, there's people that I know have seen my stories when I posted about a show, so they know about the show or they at least saw the story. But when I invited them to the show personally, they bought tickets. They didn't get tickets from seeing my IG story. They got tickets when I personally invited them. So personally invite people to your shows, okay? So now, as you're going through this, one of the reasons to put it in a spreadsheet is so you can mark what they say when you reach out to them, okay? So let's say Albert is not available, right? So you can come up with your own type of system or code or whatever. So I'll put Albert's not available. Peter, let's say Peter he's not available, but he's like, man, I really, really want to be there. I hate to miss your show, bro. Please keep inviting me, but I just gotta go to my grandma's 87th birthday party or whatever it is. But I really want to be there. So maybe you kind of notate that as well, like, you know, not available but interested or whatever. And I'll show you why we do that later on, okay? And let's say Julia's not available. Let's say Mike says, hey, I'm not sure yet. I got to figure out a couple things. You know, check back with me in a couple weeks or whatever. Or even if Mike just says, I'm not sure yet, then you can leave a note to follow up. Okay, now I know what that looks like, but for me, that's my code for follow up. You can have your own code if you don't like that. Or maybe if Mike says no, you can put FU for another reason. But for me, that is my code to follow up with Mike. So usually I will do this. I will start this process about a month in advance. So if the show is on June 5th, I'm going to start this process about May 5th and start reaching out to people. And so then if Mike says follow up, or if Mike says I'm not sure yet, then in 2 weeks from the day I reach out to him, and which is going to be about 2 weeks from the show as well, then I will follow back up and say, hey, Mike, just checking in. You know, you said you weren't sure yet, or you told me to follow up with you, just seeing, you know, if you made a decision on getting this ticket or if you're able to come or whatever, however you want to say that. So then, you know, you reach out to Mike, remind Mike, because Mike's busy and Mike has things going on. So it's just a little friendly nudge, and especially if he told you to follow back up with him. But even if he just said, hey, I'm not sure yet, it's totally okay in a couple weeks to follow up with him and just say, hey, just seeing, you know, if you're able to make it out to the show. So let's say April gets a ticket. All right. So I usually just mark something like that because April purchased the ticket. And then let's say Joel gets 2 tickets. So I might do something like that because Joel copped 2 tickets. Okay. And then let's say Jeff's not available. And again, we're going to talk about the importance of like these notations here in just a second. Okay. So, you know, and then let's say Sam's not available. Let's say, Jimmy Cracks Corn got a ticket and Sarah is not available, but interested. Sarah makes music, and Steve is not available, but interested. Ashley bought 3 tickets. Carl got 1. Bodie is not available. And the sad mad dad is, let's say, not available. Okay. So what is important from this is, and the reason that I do this is because then let's say I have another show on 9/5 at, let's say, Troubadour, for example. Then what I can do is after the dust settles, after the show happens, I've, sold all my tickets or whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually rearrange this list. Okay. So I'm going to take, because Ashley bought 3 tickets, Ashley is now a VIP customer. Okay. So I'm going to drag Ashley up to the very top, because Ashley bought 3 tickets and she bought more tickets than anybody else. So let's put Ashley at the top. And then let's see, Joel bought 2. So let's put Joel up here. Okay. And then April bought 1. Jimmy Cracks Corn got 1. Carl Levinson got 1. And so I'm putting all the people that bought tickets up at the top. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw the people that were not available but interested, I'm going to put them next, because the ones that sounded like they were really interested, they really wanted to be there, but they just had prior commitments, I'm going to put them up next. Okay. And the reason I'm doing this is because when it comes time for me to market or for me to promote the September show at the Troubadour, when it's August and I'm starting to reach out to people, guess who I'm going to reach out to first? I am going to reach out to Ashley, Joel, April, Jimmy Cracks Corn, and Carl Levinson first. Why? Couple reasons. Number one is that I found that typically the people that rock with you, they rock with you. The people that are, buying tickets, coming to shows, those are typically going to be the people that are going to show up for you time and time again. So you are, by reaching out to those people, you're also getting some yeses sooner. So it gives you more energy, and it just makes you more excited to keep reaching out to people. When you get those sales early, it can really help you out and motivate you to keep going so that you can get further and further down your list. Okay. And, I prioritize it so that if I don't get further down the list, it's fine. I can still get a considerable number of sales that second show, because I know who is going to get tickets or who's more likely to buy tickets. So I reach out to them first so that I can prioritize them, and then I'll be more likely to get my, sales and get a considerable number of people to the show early on. And like I said, if I don't get further down, then it's fine. It's not the end of the world. But I will say that you should definitely make every effort to get all the way through your list every time, because you never know who might buy tickets, one of these times. I've had people where I reach out to them over and over again for shows, and then they say, oh, they can't do it. Sometimes they don't even respond, but I keep messaging them for future shows. And then what do you know? One of the shows, they're like, oh, sweet, I can make it to this one. Or, yo, sorry, I didn't even see this last message. Or sorry, I forgot to respond to this last message that you sent me about your last show. But, dude, I can totally make this one, so let me get one of those tickets. That does happen as well. So you definitely want to make every effort to get through your entire list, because people will surprise you. There have been people like, yo, he ain't gonna buy a ticket. There ain't no way. And those people buy tickets sometimes. It might be somebody you hadn't talked to in a couple years. You put them on the list because they're around your city, and sometimes they buy tickets. You might be surprised. So put those people on the list, reach out to them, and because you never know. One other thing that you can do to help you get people out to your shows, and this is something that I've done before. One of my most successful shows was there was 150 people in there. And the reason being is part of it is that I got somebody that I knew on the bill as well. So I reached out to the booker and I said, hey, I got this friend. Can she be on the bill that same night as me? And the booker said, yeah. And so we did that. And what that does is that also people who mutually know you, like your mutual friends, are going to be more likely to come through if you have people that you know also on the bill. Another thing that I'll do sometimes, going back to my list of people here, when I'm sending them personal messages, let's say Carl Levinson on row 6, let's say he knows my drummer, or let's say he knows one of my background singers or my keyboard player or whatever. I'll say, hey, Styx is going to be playing in this show too. So then it's a little more incentive for him to come through and check, because he can check out both of his friends playing at the same show. So, by, calling out people that are going to be on stage with you, if that person knows them in your list, or by adding somebody to the bill as a performer that other people in your friend circle, in your group might also know, you can also help drive more sales or get more people in the building, more people to show up at your show. I hope this helps a ton. I hope your next show is super successful from using this method. And, I know that some of you might be thinking, this is a ton of work, bro. And yeah, it is a ton of work. But do you want it to be easy, or do you want to have a successful show? That's what you have to decide, and that's what you have to ask yourself. So if you want to have a successful show and you haven't been getting the results that you want, I promise you, if you do this, it will work and you will get people at your shows. So, it's up to you. If you want to just keep having shows where nobody shows up, then do what you want. But if you want to have shows where people actually come through, or there are actually butts in the building, then use this, try it out, and let me know how it goes in the comments. If it works for you, please let me know. And if you like this, also like and subscribe as well.